Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, let's talk about some cards that are the best bang for your buck from Modern Horizons 3. Yeah, these cards are new, and many of them, to me, it's like, okay, like, that card's crazy good. How is that under $1? That's right, every single one of these cards is going to be within my budget even. Again, $1 or less. Let's jump into it and talk about what cards you should be picking up for your decks right now. First up, let's start off with some artifacts and some great ones. Starting off with Solar Transformer. Not for Transformer decks out there, but I mean, maybe, I guess, if you really want to. Also, not just for energy decks. This is the kind of card where players are like, oh, it's got energy on it. I'm just going to say, like, I don't need it then because I'm not playing an energy deck. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're playing an energy deck or not. This is a great card. Artifact for 2, enters the battlefield, tap. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy, tap for a colorless, or tap and pay energy, add 1 mana of any color. Here's the thing. Again, this is already just a mana rock that is efficient at 2 mana. Are there better ones out there? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that this is better than Arcane Signet. It is not. It just definitely is not. That being said, this can be like a slightly slower version of Arcane Signet, at least for 3 turns. Again, giving you 1 mana of whatever color you need. Eventually just giving you colorless mana, which can still be just great. Again, a very efficient mana rock at 2 that has, again, that fixedness to it as well on top of the efficiency. And on top of that, if you are, again, yes, say in an energy deck or a proliferate deck or just a deck that has proliferate effects, you can just essentially have a secondary, slightly slower Arcane Signet with this one. That being said, most of the time, doesn't matter really all that much. If you're playing a deck that's like 1, 2, maybe 3 colors, you just want efficient. You just want efficiency. So it's a great card at that. Again, typically, at least for me, I want to at least get 1 mana back out of a 2 mana rock, obviously. Or I should say like half the amount of mana back. So again, on turn 2, being able to ramp them, that is a turn typically for me to ramp, which is fantastic. That's a great card to do so. Next up, Stone Idol Generator. Again, a card that some players might be like, well, that's for energy decks out there. I don't want that then. Don't just consider that, okay? Consider what the card does. An artifact for 5. Whenever a creature control attacks, you get an energy. Tap, pay 6 energy. You make a 6/12 cost construct artifact creature token with trample, active for the sorcery. This is a creature token generator for you in a go wide strategy. If you're in a strategy that is aggressive, that gets a lot of creatures out, that attacks quickly, like say like a token deck, which can go super wide, super fast, like much wider than 6 creatures attacking each turn. I mean, think like Kranko. I'm not saying it should go in a Kranko deck, but still, like, think a commander that can make so many creature tokens, or again, like Jetmir, like a commander that's like, okay, you need to have a lot of creatures in play and be aggressive. Cool. Do so. Get a lot of energy counters, essentially, and all of a sudden, yeah, tap each turn and make a 6/12 every single turn with trample. So this can make you a lot of giant creature tokens. Also, decks like, you know, maybe Brutaclad, which like giant creature tokens. Cool. It can be great in that kind of a deck as well. So yeah, some great artifacts to consider right now that are very, very budget friendly. Next up, let's move on to creatures, and there are a lot of great ones, and ones that my goodness, like this one especially, a Cursed Marauder, one that I was hammering as soon as it came out. I was like, this is a good card. They finally like stepped up, they leveled up a certain kind of archetype of a card. A 2/1 zombie warrior for 2 mana in black, enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. This is, I mean, what, like Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, which then became like Plague Crafter. This is like potentially, probably, in my opinion, better than even Plague Crafter, which, I mean, forces sacrifices, I believe, of Planeswalkers or as well, and then also makes it so that players discard a card if they don't. So yeah, like, this doesn't have like those contingency plans, but also it's like, oh no, everyone has sacrificed a non-token creature, something worth a value. I'll just sacrifice this, sure, whatever. And again, it is just 2 mana. On top of that, it's got 2 relevant creature types, at zombie and warrior. Yeah, a 2 mana edict effect on a creature. That is fantastic. Next up, Metastatic Evangel, a 3/1 Phyrexian Human Cleric for 2 mana in white. Another non-token creature about to control proliferate. This is just 19 cents. My goodness, repeated proliferation we have seen is an incredibly powerful thing. I mean, you just think about like Flux Channeler, those kinds of creatures. Yeah, so good. Again, any other non-token creature coming into play, you get to essentially, yeah, get proliferating. Again, if you're playing like poison counters, great. Oh, they're like, oh, I've got 1 poison counter on me. Oh, they got that in play. Oh no, please don't get creatures in play. Blink Daxosaurus, of course, can utilize this that have any kind of counter synergies in them as well. a lot of great synergies we have. I should mention +1 counters, of course, because that's great. Speaking of which, Propagator Drone. A 2/2 with Devoid Eldrazi Drone for 2 mana, not just for Eldrazi decks. Creature tokens you control have Evolve. That is massive. That is huge. We'll get back to that here in a second. Pay 3 and a green. Create a 0/1 coastal Eldrazi spawn creature token with sacrifice creature, add colorless. So, sure, you can dump mana on this if you need to make creature tokens. It's great. Most importantly, though, again, your creature tokens get so much better by having Evolve. That is huge because, again, Evolve means basically something else comes into play that has greater power or toughness. That creature then gets a counter on it, essentially. So it keeps growing with your bigger creatures coming into play. So again, you might have just like little 0/1 Eldrazi spawns or like little 1/1 soldiers or whatever it is. All of a sudden, you get other bigger creatures in play, and those creatures get much more massive. So this can give you a lot of value, again, for just a 2-mana creature that also has like a dump mana into it outlet if you need to. Next up, MDFCs are massive, and they are somehow budget friendly right now. 54 cents. I remember when like the first MDFCs like were budget friendly, and then all of a sudden like Balagan Recovery is like $4 or whatever it is. So yeah, they can get expensive depending on what they are. A 1/4 weird with flash for 3 mana in blue. Enters the battlefield. You may change the target of target instant source spell with a single target to this one. This is a, I mean, not counter spell, but basically a counter spell in a way to like save one of your things that's being targeted. So again, someone's like, okay, yeah, I Doom Blade that or whatever, or Swords of Plowshares, whatever you want to do. Oh no, not my commander. Okay, instead, let me just actually say, no, I'm going to use my, land in hand essentially to do that instead, because on the backside, we do have a land. Enters battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, enters battlefield, tap for a blue. So this, again, it was reserved for the mythic level. Again, MDFC's back, and I can't remember the first, second, whatever it was, Modern Horizons, that had those. I think it was Modern Horizons that had those. Whichever one had those. What was it? I can't remember what set had those. Let me know in the comments below. Maybe it was like a different set. Regardless, MDFCs like this are huge. Being able to, again, be a land that comes into play untapped, you're not going like less efficient. Yeah, you're losing life, sure. Life is a resource to use in Commander, though. Oh, Lightning Bolt myself, whatever. I'm down to 37, okay? I'm fine. So yeah, use it as a land when you need to, but also it's just a counter spell essentially in a deck. I mean, it's a direction of change of direction spell, but still. It's a way to essentially save something or steal something, which can be great. Next up, Molten Gatekeeper. Hey, Impact Tremors, do you have that in a deck? Oh, good. Use this then, too. 10-cent card, 2/3 golem for 3 mana in red. Whenever the creature is battlefield to control, deals 1 to each opponent. Again, basically, Impact Tremors on a body. You can also unearth it back out for a single red mana for, again, like an explosive, like, I win the game turn. Like, again, like, I keep bringing up Kranko, apparently, but sure. Kranko, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm about to tap Kranko, make like 20 goblins, which of course could happen quite easily in your Kranko deck. Oh wait, before I do that, yeah, my Gatekeeper's in the graveyard. I'll pay a red, bring it back. Okay, cool, it's in play, and then I'll tap Kranko, and then all of you are probably gone with 20 damage each. So yeah, if you have Impact Tremors or any of those kinds of cards in your deck, yeah, consider this one. Next up, I think this might be the only commander I'm bringing up on this one, but I just want to bring up one that, like, yeah, okay, if you're interested in a commander and building around it, great, pick those up that are budget friendly, but also, like, this one is applicable with so many powerful things. Okay, Fame Mechanist. I'm talking about the 99, I should say. 3/3 Dwarf Artificer for 4 mana in Jeskai. Fabricate 1. On top of that, other non-token creature control have Fabricate 1. Pay 2 tap, choose 1. Populate Proliferate. I did mention on, I think, a few episodes with this one, basically, like, hey, yeah, you can do, like, really crazy shenanigans with Persist creatures and go infinite and win. So if you've got like a bunch of Persist creatures in your deck and you can consider this one, it's like great combo with that. If you've got a free sacrifice outlet, again, then bring them to play infinitely, basically. Because Fabricate 1, I should say, is creature comes into play, either get a counter on it or make a 1/1 servo. So with a counter, you can get the +1 counter to cancel out the -1 counter. And yes, that's how that works. I did not realize that when I came back into Magic years and years ago, because it wasn't that way when I was younger, and then it switched. So yes, it's simplified now, but yeah, it makes Persist like broken with something like this. That being said, also just like, hey, non-token creatures going wide, you can go really wide with this very quickly. If you've got like even like a blink deck, okay, like I blink all my creatures, they come back into play as blink like 10 creatures like an Eerie Interlude for 3 mana. Cool, I Fabricate 1. Sure, I can get counters on them if I want, or I can like get 10 servos. So yeah, this can be great in a lot of different kinds of strategies out there. Next up, Siege Gang Lieutenant, a 2/2 goblin for 4 mana. Lieutenant, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Again, haste left turn, pay 2, sacrifice a goblin, 1 damage any target. This is kind of like a bigger version of, gosh, what's the little 2/1 or whatever that costs 2 mana that makes little Thopters, whatever that one is. This is a great version of that, essentially. Just, hey, okay, if my commander's in play, I make tokens, I go wide very quickly. This is a very good strategy for that. Of course, goblins can utilize it too, like sacrificing those, that's nice. Most importantly, though, again, go wide super fast. Like, make 2 creatures each turn. Yes, please. Next up, Infested Thrynax. This can be a game-ending card. A 4/4 lizard with flash for 5 mana in Golgari. Enters the battlefield until end of turn whenever a non-token creature control dies, creating a number of 1/1 green sapling creature tokens equal to creature's power. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I mean, if you say have, I don't know, like an aristocrat style strategy that's sacrificing a bunch of, again, non-token creatures, you make a ton out of nowhere. Or if you have like a power matters strategy, and you're like, okay, I've got all these great creatures in play, and all of a sudden someone board wipes, you're like, oh no, I lost 60 power worth of creatures. Okay, I get 60 tokens. Yeah, a lot of cool strategies that you can utilize with this. And again, it is like until end of turn. So you can do some crazy things with that and like feign death type effects, bring creatures back, sacrificing again, whatever you need to do. Speaking of sacrifice, spawn gang commander, like siege gang commander. Basically, if you have siege gang, you might want to consider this one too. And also in other decks too. 2/2 Eldrazi Goblin for 5 mana in red Devoid. Whenever you cast a spell, create 3/0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice creature, add colors. Pay 1 and a color, sacrifice Eldrazi, 2 damage any target. So better and worse in some ways than siege gang commander. That being said, yeah, this can just be like a ritual effect for you. Like 5 mana, you get 3 mana to utilize later when you need to. Because again, you can sacrifice those spawns for mana, which is great. Or again, in a go wide strategy or in a sacrifice strategy, this can help you out in a lot of ways. Territory Color. A 7/5 Eldrazi for 5 mana in green. Devoid Reach. Whenever a land is about to control the top card of your library, it's a creature. You may reveal it in your hand. If you don't, put it in your graveyard. You may, I should say. So this is a great card, again, for like any kind of like landfall synergy. If you've got a decent amount of creatures in there, cool. Get them in your hand off the top of your library, or like ditch cards that you don't want on top of your library, put them in your graveyard as well. So yeah, a great card for that. A lot of value to be had. Benthic Anomaly. This card is just hilarious and a cool, very cool, and like finisher potentially. 7/8 Eldrazi Serpent for 6 mana in blue. Devoid. When you cast a spell for each opponent, choose a creature the player controls. Create a token that's a copy of one of those creatures, except its power is equal to the total power of those creatures. Toughness is equal to total toughness of those creatures, and it's a colorless Eldrazi. Basically, take the best creatures each opponent has, merge it all into one creature. Like, you just get to pick one creature that it is, essentially, but all the power, all the toughness. Yeah, that can be like, oh, okay, best creature on the board my opponents control. Now, like, 3 times bigger, potentially, than that. So, yeah, it's a really cool card. Again, a 7/8 itself for 7, and then also just brings in a giant buddy. Have fun with that. So, yeah, if you've got a deck that, well, can populate that even better, or ways to make extra copies of it, like Brutalclad or whatnot. But, of course, yeah, a way to really, really use and abuse this. You got plenty of ways to do it. Have fun with that. Ways to just say, oh, I get the biggest creature on the board now, and it's the scariest one, too. Next up, let's move on to the enchantments. And yeah, there's some MDFC enchantments as well. Strength of the Harvest. Enchant creature for 3 mana in Selesnya. Enchant creature gets ++1 for each creature and or enchantment you control. If you've got an Enchantress deck, this is a slam dunk in it when it comes to, oh, my commander just happens to now be like a 2-shot or 1-shot KO. Also, again, this is on a land, so yeah, keep that in mind. And also, if you've got a go wide strategy, also a very good card in that deck as well. Oh, okay, cool, yeah. My commander now is +20, whatever it is. How many creatures do you have in play? You're going wide so quickly, so easily, those kinds of decks. You're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, my commander's a 1-shot KO now as well. Yay. And of course, the backside, I should say as well. Enters battlefield, taps for a green or a white. So yeah, again, helps you fix mana. Yeah, it's a slow land, but sure, you've got the other side of it to be very effective, very efficient. Glasswing Grace. This one is very good as well. It doesn't have as high of a ceiling as the other one I just talked about, but still, an Aura for 5 mana, an Orzhov enchant creature, +2/+2 flying and lifelink. So yeah, being able to say like, okay, this is another way to maybe get my commander through a certain types of strategies out there, way to get, you know, specific creatures through. Obviously, Enchantress decks are like, cool, it's another enchantment, great for free in the deck essentially because it takes up a land slot. But yes, a way to also gain life and life gain strategies too. Or yeah, just like I mentioned, like, oh, if I want to get a way to get my commander through, cool, it's a good way to do that and gain some life too. But also again on the backside, of course, exact same things last one we talked about, but taps for a white or a black. So again, flexible, just takes up like no space in your deck at all and gives you additional advantages to have. Next up though, with some instants, yeah, we got some great ones. This one, 84 cents still somehow. This is one of the best MDFCs in my opinion. Instant for a Golgari mana, either a black or a green. Put a counter on target creature, gains indestructible on turn. it doesn't have to say counter on it. This would still be, in my opinion, just as good. I mean, it having counter on it is nice because it also helps with counter builds too, obviously, or proliferate effects as well, or like power matters type strategies too. But yeah, just this giving indestructible for 1 mana on an MDFC is absurd and very easy to cast, again, being either black or green mana. Yeah, it's just a way to, in most circumstances, in my opinion, be like, okay, I protect my commander with another spell in my deck that doesn't take up a spot in my deck. Again, it is basically a land, because on the backside it has taps for a black or taps for a green. So yeah, just having an extra free, oh, get out of jail free card for my commander for 1 mana that takes up no space in my deck. Yeah, sign me up for that. Speaking of which, collective resistance. I can't believe this is 39 cents. So many decks can utilize this card. Like basically, hey, do you have green? I'm not saying it's like an auto-include in every deck, but like, consider it. An instant for 1 and a green. Escalate for a green. So you can pick more than 1, essentially, if you pay more. Choose 1 or more short turn artifact, target enchantment. Target creature gains hexproof and indestructible out of turn. I mean, the bar for like good removal when it comes to like a green removal spell typically to me is like Return to Nature. I think that's the name of the one, right? Which is like choose 1, destroy an artifact, destroy enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard for 1 and a green. Instant speed. Cool. This one's like, okay, sure, you can do like 2 of those things. You're not exiling something, but you could also just give hexproof and indestructible, which is typically, in my opinion, probably better than the other option. Oh, and also, by the way, you can escalate this to get more than one of those options, maybe all those options. So for 3 mana, this can be destroy 2 things if you need to, or for 4 mana or whatever, I'm just saying like pick all of them or whatever it is. You can destroy 2 things and also protect something, or again, in a situation where you're like, I need to protect my commander. Cool. Hexproof indestructible. Yeah, this is so good, so flexible. Can't believe this is still 39 cents. Go pick these up right now. Next up, Legion Leadership. This is just gonna like surprise take players out of nowhere. An instant for 1 in Boros colors. Until end of turn, double target creature's power and it gains first strike. Goodness gracious. Again, this is just like, again, doesn't take up a spot in the deck. Again, it is an MDFC. This is a card that can, on the backside, I'll just say, like, you know, it's same as the lands, enter battlefield, taps for a red or a white. That being said, yeah, hey, just out of nowhere, double a creature's power and give it first strike. Obviously, first strike can be like, oh, it's great, protects it in combat, nice. But yeah, if you just get a creature through, again, it's instant speed, so like, oh, my commander got through. What are you at? Or like, how much commander damage you have? Okay, cool. Double this. You're probably gone. Yeah, just out of nowhere, just be like, oh yeah, I'll just double my creature's power, why not? So yeah, power matters type strategies can work too well with it. Also, Voltron, obviously. Anything where it's like, oh, my commander already hits for 7, already hit my opponent once with it. Cool, all right, swing through, get through, double it, 14, you're gone. Next up, Razor Grash Ambush. Instant for 2 mana and white, 3 damage target attacking or blocking creature. Yeah, this one is just like surprise, like mini removal in a way. It can be great when it's like, okay, that creature's attacking. I can block essentially with enough to like get it within range to take it out. Or like an opponent block one of my creatures. I only need 3 more damage to take it out. Cool, do that as well. Or take out like a medium-sized small creature automatically with this as well. Again, it doesn't take up a spot in your deck though, really. It does not. So like, even though, in my opinion, it's not as good as some of the other MDFCs, it's still like, hey, why not have like a free semi-removal spell in the deck? And again, it's that like, you know, lightning bolt, like, okay, oh, I lose 3 life. Oh no. But it comes to play untapped if you need it. Tap for a white. Next up, Rush of Inspiration. Again, a card that's like, oh no, it has energy on it. Well, I don't have energy, so I don't want to use it. Please just ignore that part, okay? Instant for 1, is it? Instant speed, draw 2 cards and discard a card at random unless you pay 2 energy. Here's the thing. Again, some players don't like to discard at random, and I understand that, okay? You're still going up in card advantage, though. You're drawing 2, discarding 1. It is at random. Are there going to be feel bads where you like lose out on your best card? Yes, but there's going to be more times than not when it's like, okay, I discard a card I don't care too much about. I just went up on card advantage off of, again, a land, an MDFC in the deck that doesn't take up a spot in the deck. And sure, if you have energy, cool. You can make it so that you're just like drawing 2 cards and then not discarding a card. So there you go. But yes, a really good card. Again, to consider that some people, I think, just again, ignore if they see energy on a card, they're like, well, I'm not playing an energy deck. They just skip it, and you should not. Next up, Abstruse Appropriation. I always mess up on how to say that. Instant for 2 in Orzhov colors. Devoid, exile target non-land permanent. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may spend colorless mana as though it may have any spell of any color to cast that spell. Yeah, basically what, like Utter End, but better, because you're like, oh, okay, cool. I also could just like steal your thing. So it's like, all right, I just remove whatever I want to remove for 4 mana. Again, non-land. Sure, most of the time you're like, I don't really care if it's a land or not. Being able to remove whatever you need to remove. Again, permanently exiling it. But also, again, I can just like steal that when I need to. So again, like get rid of something Smothering Tithe. And you're like, okay, you don't get that anymore. Haha. And then on your turn, like, now I have a Smothering Tithe. Yay. Gross. And then finally, Waterlogged Teachings. Instant for 4 Indemir. Search life for an instant card or card with flash, reveal it in your hand, then shuffle. Never thought I'd see the day where it's like, oh yeah, hey, MDFC land that just can tutor. Whoa, that is brutally amazing. I mean, yeah, it's 4 mana to tutor something, but also like Diabolic Tutor sees a ton of play. Yeah, it's more specific for a tutor, but again, it's on a land. What do you want? It's on a land at instant speed. Yeah, you can go tutor for an instant card or a card with flash. Get it in your hand at instant speed for 4 mana. Sure. Or again on the backside, taps for a blue, taps for a black. Sure comes to play untapped or tapped, but still does not matter. Like, again, this doesn't take up a spot in your deck. It is a land for you, essentially. It's taking up no space at all, and it's a tutor. Yeah, if you've got a deck that's like revolves around like a certain instant or whatever, like if you have like a dramatic reversal combo, yeah, amazing. But also, even if you don't, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, like, they're doing this right now, they're doing this right now. Like, I need something to deal with that. Cool, let me go get the card that I need to go deal with that right now. So, yeah, this can help you in a lot of ways. Or, like, I need a counter spell to ensure I can protect whatever I'm going to be doing next. So, yeah, get the card that you need with this. It's an amazing card. Moving on, one land I want to highlight that is somehow just 47 cents. Archway of Innovation. Enters the battlefield, tap lets you control an island. Tap for a blue, pay a blue, tap the next spell you cast this turn has improvise. So, again, your artifacts can help basically tap for mana for it, essentially. 1 mana apiece. Yeah. Do you play an artifact deck that is like a reasonable amount of colors? Yeah, slam dunk this in there. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy powerful effect. Again, any spell you cast is improvised. It doesn't have to be an artifact or anything like that. I think people like skip around with that, like, oh, I'm gonna cast it. No. It can be any spell. It could be like giant X draw spell. Sure. Okay. On this land that can enter the battlefield untap potentially, and usually can, I guess, if you have an island. So there you go. Just pay a blue mana, tap this, and all of a sudden, just tap all those clues, tap all those treasures, tap all those whatever you're going to tap, essentially artifacts, and all of a sudden, put a ton of mana into a giant spell. Yeah, what's not to love about that? This can just reduce the cost of, like, all your things down to nothing when it comes to playing just massive spells or just, again, casting giant X spells. Speaking of which, we'll get to tier 1 a little bit, but yeah, a great land to consider if you have an artifact-based strategy. Next up, sorceries, and really quick, just a note. I somehow missed that there was another land later on the list. I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, the like cycling triome kind of things. Consider those as well. Yeah, what are they called? Like not triomes, like tricycles. I think they're also called like the triomes tricycles though. But like these are like the ones that are like, hey, yeah, tap sacrifice if you want to go get a land. Okay, or tap red colors, or like cycle it away. Those, I'll have it in the link to the cards in the description below. They'll be in there, okay, or will be in there. So consider those as well. They're very budget friendly and great. Aggressive Biomancy though, as a sorcery, is incredible for 39 cents. Sorcery for XX in Simic colors. Create X tokens that are copies of target creature you control, except they have when enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Yeah, giant X spell that can be game changing. Basically, again, make a ton of tokens, take over the board, and also a like board wipe too. Lovely. Yeah, take out a lot of things with this. Next up, Fangs of Colonia, sorcery for 1 and a green. Put a counter target creature control, then double the number of counters on it. Each creature that I counter put on this way. Overload. So you can essentially do all your creatures, or you can just do one creature. Again, if you have like a commander that's like built around counters, sure. Get another counter on it and double for just 2 mana. That's crazy. But also, again, if you just have like a go wide strategy with counters too, like, okay, cool. 6 mana, get an extra counter on them, and then double all of them. This can be a game-ending play. Next up, Stump Stomp. So good. 40 cents right now. I can't believe this is just 40 cents. Sorcery for 1 in cruel colors. Target creature control deals damage deal to its power target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Again, on the NBFC, just free removal in your deck. Free removal takes up no space except for it being land. Okay, it does enter the battlefield, tap, but still, it's worth it. Taps for a red or a green. Yeah, this is, again, not a fight spell. This is, which is usually better, to essentially. Sometimes fight's good with, like, enrage type effects, but still. This is, my creature is going into no danger at all. I'm utilizing its power, which I'm in green, so I'm probably the biggest creatures out there, to take out whatever creatures, essentially, I probably want or planeswalker. So, yeah. 2 mana, removable spell. Again, just fits in the deck as a land. What's not to love about that? Speaking of which, Bridgeworks Battle. Yet another removal spell for your deck in green. That is an MDFC sorcery for 3 mana. Target creature control is +2/+2 until end turn. It fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So this one does send your creature into danger a little bit. But again, you're like, okay, cool. I'll take out a creature smaller than it. Or, yeah, I'll actually just, I don't know, like utilize like an enraged creature that actually wants to get hit. Cool. But of course, this again is an MDFC that doesn't tap for 1 of 2 colors, but it does have the ability to, again, lightning bolt yourself to have it come into play untap. So again, it doesn't slow you down at all. And again, it is a removal spell, just 52 cents right now. That is incredible. Next up, This one, 94 cents right now, right inside the budget area still. Sorcery for 3 mana in red. Destroy target land. Controller may search their library for a basic land upon the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. This one has a lot of applications. Again, first of all, okay, like, opponent has Gaia's Cradle in play. Yeah, you're going to be pretty thankful that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's get that out of there, please. Okay, goodbye, thank you. Yeah, sure, go get a basic instead. Also, though, hey, if you're playing a landfall deck, destroy your own land. Cool, destroy your own land. Yes, you can do that. Go get a basic. Awesome, do that. Also, this can be like mana fixing for you. Like, okay, I have a mountain, but like, I need a forest. So like, okay, I'll destroy my own mountain. I'll go get a forest. I'll fix my mana. Okay, cool. Do that as well. Again, flexible to have that option. And also just creatures without flying can't block this turn. This is just like most of the time, like everything is unblockable on my turn. Great, being able to get through. So again, in any of those scenarios, that can be very helpful for you. And again, lightning bolts you, and you can also have it come and play untapped if you need to. So again, these MTGs are just so flexible and so great. Next up, again, one that is 15 cents again, because it's like players see like the energy on it. They're like, well, I'm not playing energy. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Sorcery for 5 mana and Azorius. Again, MDFC, the backside, enters battlefield tap. You can tap it for white or tap it for blue. Tap all creatures target player controls. Just stop there, okay? Stop right there. You don't have to worry about the energy. You don't, if it didn't say the energy stuff on it, I think this would be more expensive and see more play than it does. But because it has energy, players are like, well, I'm not playing energy, so I'm not going to use it. Ignore that. That being said, if you are an energy, this is great. You may pay X energy, choose X creatures tap this way, put a stun counter each of them. So like, those creatures are going to stay tapped for longer, which is lovely. But again, does not matter. This can be a great way to essentially say like, oh, okay, I just have a way to, yeah, 5 mana is expensive for it, but still like not that much more expensive than it would be to tap down opponent's creatures. Now they're wide open for you to attack them. And again, like in a scenario where it's like, okay, the player to my right is the big threat. They just had their turn. I tap your creatures down. Hey, other players, can we agree to just swing at that player and take them out? Cool. Let's do that. I did this with a land. Again. Don't sleep on the MDFCs. Moving on. Blood-Soaked Insight. Another great MDFC land. Sorcery for 7 mana, but you're never going to pay that. In Rakdos, the spell costs 1 less cast for each 1 life your opponent's lost this turn, so it can cost as little as just 2 mana. Just 2 mana. Target opponent exiles the top 3 cards or library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. If you cast a spell this way, mana of any type, you spend to cast this. This is like Impulse Draw off an opponent's library, sure, for potentially 2 mana. Absolutely lovely. Some players don't like the Impulse Draw when it's like off an opponent's library because it's like, well, it's not going to synergize with my things. Doesn't really matter most of the time, okay? And again, it is play, so if you hit a land, that's your land drop for the next turn. Great, cool. You might hit something that's massive off an opponent's library. You're like, oh, cool, I got an awesome card that I can play. Again, it perfectly fixes your mana for whatever you're casting it for. Or also, you just might like hit like a Sign in Blood. You're like, cool, like I get like, you know, some card draw with that as well. So again, do not sleep on this. This is like extra additional card advantage, okay? Potentially for 2 mana on a card that just happens to be a land in your deck, which is great. Again, backside is battlefield tap, taps for a black or taps for a red. But now this episode is coming to a close. It's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know your thoughts are on these cards. What cards did I not bring up that are also budget friendly from Modern Horizons 3, which again had a lot of gems for a commander that I should have brought up. Also, again, if you are interested in any of these cards, check out that card list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.